Hi, my name is Conrad Barsky, and in this video I'm going to demonstrate Project Groundhog, a decentralized open source social network built on the Ethereum system. This is what it looks like. I'm going to demonstrate this app in a moment, but first let me go through a few basic concepts so that you can kind of understand what the design is of this system. So Project Groundhog is a social network with many feeds and many posters. So there's several different designs of social networks, but the prototypical social network that we're trying to emulate here with this design is Facebook. So at Facebook there are many walls, and multiple people can post to a wall. So that's the kind of social network I'm talking about here that we're trying to build, but we're trying to do it in a decentralized way. Now, the biggest problem you're going to run into with this particular design for a social network is since anyone can post to anybody else's wall, you're going to have a lot of spam. So how can you limit spam? Well, the way Facebook does it is they only let real-world friends post to your wall or your feed. Now, the reason that works is, first of all, because you can just unfriend people if they send you junk, but mainly it works because there's a social shaming aspect, because you know these people in the real world. You can tell people, hey, stop sending me this junk, and people are responsive to that because they know you're in the real world, and there's real world punishment if you are a bad actor. Now, of course, the downside with that is that Facebook has to be very privacy invasive and know about all your friends. So we don't want to copy that model. So the second approach you can take is you can filter stories based on reputation. So this is the model used by most current approaches I've seen that talk about building a decentralized social network. That's not the one we're using in this system. What we're doing in Project Groundhog is something a little simpler, which is simply that we're going to make people lose money if they send you bad content. You might be surprised after seeing this slide, and now that I've told you this, that most of this talk is going to be about reputation. So then the obvious question is, hey, if we're not going to use reputation to determine what shows up in a feed, why are we talking about reputation? And the answer is because what I'm going to be demonstrating attempts to be a generator of reputation, whereas the filtering approach on reputation is a consumer of reputation. Now you could say, hey, can't we do both? Can we use reputation to decide what shows up in a feed, and then also use reputation in the form of up and down votes on feeds to determine what people's reputation is? Well, you can try that, but my impression is that is a really bad situation, because it prevents you from creating a blind scientific study from each feed in order to determine there's a bias for each feed based on reputation that makes it hard to retroactively adjust reputation parameters. So the model that we're using is it's just about money. If you put something in my feed and I dislike it, you're going to lose money. And the only reason we have reputation is that that's a mechanism we were using after the fact to figure out how much money you deserve. So now let's keep going, and let's ask the next question. What is reputation, and how do we calculate it? So for our purposes, reputation basically just means that somebody with a high reputation is a good actor and somebody in the network, and somebody with a low reputation is a bad actor in the network and is sending people spam. So in order to calculate that, this comes up in many different contexts. The PageRank at Google has to solve this problem. Bayesian spam filtering solves this problem. When you go to a job interview, you have to solve this problem. That's why usually at a job interview you have to interview with like 10 different people at a big company, because they want to make sure that they get lots of independent signals. And the word independent here is important, because you don't want nepotism in a company. So you don't want three people that all know each other to give their friend a job and only have them interview those three people. You want to make sure that any hire is vetted by independent sources. And that's, of course, the core of the scientific method and of any kind of probability calculations, is that if you want to combine probabilities, they have to be independent probabilities in order for the results to be accurate. So that's what we're going to try to establish, and we're going to do it. So one way to do this is to use something called eigenvectors, and there's there's a system called I forget what it's called right now that tries to apply this to decentralized networks. But we're going to use a much simpler model. In our model, the weak signals are going to be represented by little cartoon animals. And when we combine them into a reputation, we'd simply do that by counting what animals you have and what level they are. So let me show you a little animation to show how that works. So the benefit with this approach is it's much the algorithm I'm going to show you is much easier to calculate inside of a smart contract that has limited computational powers, and also what I'm going to show you is understandable by an average person. So the problem with something like using PageRank or eigenvectors to solve these kinds of problems is that it's a black box. Nobody, if somebody's reputation goes down from one day to the next, they have no idea why, because it's incomprehensible machine learning that made the decision. Okay, so let me show you a little demo, or let me show you a little animation that explains this. So in this little animation, what we have here is 6 hypothetical people using the network. So when a new user uses the network, as I said, there's cartoon animals involved. So that you can think of this as a social network that's combined, that we're gamifying by adding an animal collection game to the social network. So each of these 6 people, when they joined, they each got a random animal assigned to them. And usually these are low-level animals for beginners, usually level 2 or 3. And so you can see down here, somebody says, hey, I just saw this story on the internet, and I bet James would love this story. So what this person can do now is they can send that story over into James's feed. So so now when James opens his computer, he says, hey, look, there's a story in my feed. And then he says, hey, I like this story. Okay, so after he likes the story, what's going to happen is that his animal is going to be moved over to the person who contributed it. So this is the basic idea here. What we want to do, the reason we have this crazy animal metaphor is that reputation has to be heterogeneous. In order for reputation to be meaningful, it has to come from many different people that don't know about each other and are independent. Otherwise, it's easy to create a voting ring and cheat the voting system. So that means this person here has a rat, and when they like things, the people they like get a rat too. Okay. Now, if you have many feeds, one of the things that's important here is that you need one of the important duties that people have in this type of a social network design is routing. So you want people who find stories that appear in one person's feed and say, hey, I know somebody who will like that. So here somebody says, hey, I think this other guy would love the story in James's feed too. And so when people route stories, they can take stories from one feed into another. And when they do that, when the person that receives it likes the feed, multiple animals are distributed. They're given both to the person who routed the story and the person they routed it from. So both this person got a little chicken and this person got a little chicken. Now notice that this chicken is a lower level chicken than the parent chicken, because we want this vector, this value in our reputation vector, which is what each of these animals represent. We want that to degrade over time. So if you get if you got the reputation from like from the 3rd or 4th source, like the Kevin Bacon 4 steps removed, then it should be a lower quality reputation at that point. Now, every day there's going to be a lottery, and on that day a random person in the entire network gets chosen, and they will receive a new animal. So in this case, this random person got chosen and they received a kangaroo. All animals live for 30 days, and there's only ever for 3 months, and there's only ever 100 animals total. in the system. So 100 animals. Remember what the goal is of these animals. They're there in order to give us independent signals for calculating a person's reputation. So if you have 100 independent signals, that's enough for determining reputation. So it doesn't matter with this type of model whether there's 1,000 users of the social network or 100 million users of the social network. There will only ever be 100 animals, and each one will live for 3 months, and there will be a lottery every day to replace the animals. Now, the next question you might have is, hey, what if somebody says spam? So this guy here decides, I'm going to send some spam to this other guy. So there's the spam. And then that person says, oh, I don't like this. I'm going to downvote this. So what happens now is that you can actually revoke animals from other users. So because this person has a chicken that was more powerful than the chicken of this user, they're able to take away that person's chicken. And again, this means, first of all, that if that spammers, so you can see this guy now has a little spammer cap, you can label spammers, but you can only label somebody a spammer if several people in the network that have different types of animals agree that you're a bad actor. So if a single person has a vendetta against you, all they can do is take away animals from their animal profile. So that's the overall model. Now, so this raises several questions, like can't I just create a million accounts and use that to win the lottery? Can't I just create lots of spammers and let their reputation go to heck and use that to game the system? Well, no, because there's a subscription fee that everybody has to pay. That's required by the system. And I should point out the goal of the subscription fee is spam prevention. It is not a revenue model for Project Groundhog. 100% of these subscriptions will then get paid back to users, and they get paid back in proportion to their reputation. So this person here with these 3 animals has a very high reputation, so they get a lot of money. That means they actually earned a profit by using the social network. These 2 people got just as much money back as they put in, so they broke even. These 2 people got less money than what they put in, but maybe that's okay because people posted great stories to their feeds, so they don't mind putting in a little money because they don't have the time to sort of give good content to other people to sort of boost their reputation. And then of course the spammer gets nothing, and they have forfeited their deposit by their bad actions. So that's the basic concept of how this works. Now let me and again, so the goal here is that we're not calculating reputation in order to filter the feeds. We're calculating reputation in order to determine what rewards people get and what punishments they receive in a monetary fashion. And the main factor that's going to cause feeds to have good content is that people are going to be incentivized not to lose money, and so they don't want to post lousy things to walls that are going to cost them money. That's the goal here. Okay, so now let's actually after all this, let's actually use the application. So right now this web browser is hooked up to an Ethereum wallet, and I'm going to hit register. And at this point, it asks me to enter in a small amount of currency in Wei, which is the lowest currency in Ethereum. And so there's a minimum funding amount you have to put into your account, and then out of that funding amount, every month you have to pay a subscription fee, which is going to be this amount. Now, obviously, we're using these very funny numbers. You know, as this matures, we're going to have a little friendlier currency denominations. So now I have to pick a username. I'm going to call this user Susie, and then I have to say what sort of news I want in my feed. So the goal here is that you broadcast everyone, hey, this is the news I'm interested in, and people that send quality news that meets my desires to this post, to this feed, will get upvoted, and upvoting will earn them real money. And if they send me lousy information, they get downvoted, and that will cost them money. So in this case, Susie wants to know about news that will affect the Goog price, the price of Google stock. All right. Oh, it looks like a package has arrived for me. I wonder what this could be. I got a random animal because I just joined the network. I got a little cow. So there we are. I'm Susie. This is my feed. Here's what I'm interested in, and here's my avatar, which is now a cow. And as I said, each person can have more than one avatar. So if I click on here, I can see all my avatars, and right now there's only one. But you can have many animals, and the one that's always shown on your front page is the one that is of the that you have that has the highest level. Now you can see over here, I also have a list of favorites. These are people that have feeds that I'm interested in and that might be interested in stories that I could send around. And then over here, I have people who are so one idea here is as we said, reputation is most valuable when we get it from independent sources. So what you see over here is people that have very different animals from the animals that I have. And if I were to post a story to their page, it would greatly increase my reputation. So these are, you can think of it as people at opposite ends of the social network graph. And if you can convince them that you're a good person, a good actor, then that's a strong signal that speaks highly of your reputation and will cause you to earn money. And that's why these are profitable feeds to post to, and these will get calculated in the JavaScript client as you're using the application. Now, of course, this is a social network. We want more than one people, so let me switch over to a different account. So now we've switched over to a brand new account, and so I'm going to create a new user, fund the account. I'm going to choose the username of Bob this time. Note that I can't type in Susie because that one's already registered, so I have to put in Bob. And Bob is interested in traffic news for Ridge Avenue corridor in Evanston, Illinois. So this is really the goal of what we're trying to do with Project Groundhog, is we're trying to create feeds that are extremely specific and timely, because anyone can post to any wall. You're not, unlike Twitter, you're not dependent on the person being in front of their computer in order for news to appear there. So instead, since anyone can post anywhere, news can be even more timely than Twitter in some ways, while still having some spam prevention, which you don't have if you just do a direct Twitter search. Now, so now what Bob is going to do is Bob actually has a great news story for Susie. So what he's going to do is up here in the search box is going to type in Susie's name. So we're still Bob. You can see here's Bob, and here's how much money Bob has. But Bob is now viewing Susie's feed. Now, unlike Twitter, we can now hit the plus button and we can submit a story. And the story is Larry Page just broke his ankle. So the CEO of Google. That might affect the stock price. So this is breaking news. So this is something. So if you've ever tried to follow like a stock like this, you'll find that most of the news sources out there aren't very good. So there's the sort of the official news feeds that you get in places like Ameritrade and E-Trade. Those are usually very high noise. And then if you try to follow the stock tickers on Twitter, it's filled with spam. Now here Bloomberg terminals are better, but I'm not a financial expert and don't have too much familiarity with those. Now, so Bob just posted a story to Susie's feed. Now let's switch back to Susie. So you can see now it says Susie up here, and so I'm Susie now, and I'm viewing my feed. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to upvote this story because this is a great story that really is interesting to me. I'm going to want to sell some Google stock right away. Now, by upvoting that, several things have happened. First of all, you might have noticed that Susie's funds in the account have gone down. Now, I should point out, by the way, this is these funds are managed by a smart contract. So programmers are going to be able to audit these open source contracts, and they will be able to verify that there's no way the developers of Project Groundhog can access that money. So it's safely stored in a way that the only person who can access that is the user who deposited that money, or if they are posting to walls and using the services of Project Groundhog, they will get moved to other users. But as I said, 100% of the funds get moved to other users. None of it goes to a third party. Now, let's switch back and see what Bob sees. So one thing you might notice is that Bob now has more money. That's because we've in the 20 minutes that I've been giving this talk, we have updated the payment information, and Bob earned some money with his actions. And also, you see he has a notification here. So if I click on that, you'll see, oh, I have received a level 2 cow from Susie. So by Susie upvoting her story, she had a level 3 cow, but I get a level 2 cow, so a slightly less powerful cow that gets added to my roster and helps my reputation. And if I click on here, you can see I now have 2 animals in my animal collection. All right, one other thing I want to demonstrate is, as I said, routing is very important with this type of model because there's so many feeds and few stories that have to go to lots of feeds. So what Susie can do, again, to try and earn money, is she can recommend stories in feeds to other people. So I can click on this, and then I can click on a user. Hey, this user I think would like that story, and this user would like that story. So the goal here is that you can very quickly route stories from one person to another. So there's this UI is designed around the concept of routing. All right, well that's the entire description of my my new social network concept called Project Groundhog. I hope you enjoyed this little presentation. Thank you.